It's the final word daily. I went for a different intonation there. See how the people like it.
Oh,
I hated it. It didn't sit right with me. Anyway, who's it brought to you by? Ambassador Cruise Line. If you want to go on a cruise with cricket legends in December, they're the folks for you. Daniel, we've had you know what? I've actually really enjoyed today, so I'm going to ask you to explain it in 30 seconds. Your face suggests you didn't enjoy today.
Another slow day of cricket in Sharjah, where no side has yet made it to 120 in a completed innings. Apparently. It began with Australia shellacking Sri Lanka. We saw some lovely batting from Beth Mooney, but Sri Lanka just didn't get enough. They crawled through the power play, the slowest duck in T20 Women's T20 World Cup history. Then it was England's turn. Could they put on the afterburners? Well, they got a lot in the power play, 47 or so, but thereafter it was all a bit slow and claggy. They didn't make it to 120 either. The relief for England was that Bangladesh got nowhere near that. So the two favourites won. They've kicked off their campaigns very well. Now we've seen all 10 teams.
So we're going to start with England and Bangladesh. And I think the reason why I just decided I enjoyed it, I didn't really enjoy the Aussie-Sri Lanka match because we knew who was winning that match from about 3 overs in.
3 overs? I'd say 3 balls.
3 balls, correct. Yeah. With England, there's still... My brain hasn't recalibrated yet. So when England walk off the pitch of 118, I go... That's not very many runs, but actually, it's enough. That's the best way to describe it. It's enough, because if you do, as soon as the run rate creeps a tiny bit above 6 and over, you just look around and you have no idea where the boundaries are going to be scored. Which is why Danny White-Hodges' innings of 41 or 40. Again, it was only a strike rate of 100, but there were 3 crucial overs in that power play, which went for 9, 14, and 11. And in effect, that was the difference between the two teams.
Yeah, Marufa Akhtar's 3rd over was absolutely key, wasn't it? That was the one that went for 14. There were a couple of wides, there were a couple of 4s in it. And you're right, Danny White-Hodges' innings was splendid. So actually was Maya Boucher's, and the intent that they showed. What I really liked about it is that a lot of the time, teams say, well, we don't really watch anybody else. We just come here, we just do our own thing, don't we? Because they can't affect what we do. We can only affect our game. It's all that kind of nonsense. Well, I'm delighted to say that England didn't adopt that approach. They clearly had watched the 2 games that took place in Sharjah the other day. They clearly had kept a good eye on the first game that happened today. That's partly why they went in with 4 spinners. Lindsay Smith, back in the side for the first time in years, bowled superbly. She bowled in the power play exactly as we expected her to, picked up a couple of wickets. England had a 4-pronged spin attack. They bowled 16 overs of spin. They bowled only 4 overs of part-time seam.
Oh, that's harsh.
Well, I don't think so. Okay. From Nat Silverbrunt. 4 overs from Nat Silverbrunt. The rest was spin, and it worked. And they adjusted to the conditions really well. And I was struck by how slow the outfield was on the first game.
So slow.
And I thought, is this rain or something? Not rain, is it water? They watered it a lot or something.
It's thick.
I went outside.
Oh, yes,
I did. I went outside. I got very tired doing it because I didn't know how to get there. I got rather panicky. I was scared.
You're so sweaty right now.
Well, I was scared how the night was going to be gone before I got there. I was going around in circles and going, where's the outside? How do I get outside? I go, what, sir? I said, onto the pitch. I said, upstairs, 2nd floor. I said, I really don't think it is.
Wrong.
I don't think the pitch is on the 2nd floor.
I reckon it's on ground floor.
It very much is on the ground floor. Anyway, I eventually did get out there. And then when I put my foot on the ground, it is spongy, my friends.
Yeah,
it is
that doesn't surprise me at all.
And now you can understand why. You've got to time a ball really, really well. And Danny White-Hodge did actually. She timed the pants off one extra cover drive that fizzed across the outfield. And it's got to be hit really well because it's friction, it's physics, it's science. But whatever it is, it slows everything down. And so, I think what we're going to be doing is evaluating any innings where people strike at 110, 120 as match-winning innings. And I guess, if you take 2 for 11 off 4 as well, the bowler's going to get the credit. But England have got 3 matches in the group phase here, and if they finish top, they're going to play their semi-final here.
Yes.
So whether that gives them an advantage,
I don't know. I'm trying to work that out myself.
I don't know.
Can I I just want to talk about this quickly. So when you talk about the outfield at Sharjah, I also know what the outfield at Sharjah is like. I don't know if I've told you this yet, but I've told a lot of people.
Have you played it?
No, I've lived here.
Of course you have.
I've lived at this stadium for a week. If you look behind us, that's down there through the kind of badminton area.
Oh, is that why you were so keen to go there? Yeah?
It was indeed. So yes, genuinely, you go
why
past
did you
the
live
nets
there?
Because a friend of mine was out here when he was 18. He was kind of working / playing here.
Right.
And for whatever reason, that meant he ended up living underneath the stand at Sharjah. And so I came and visited him.
Rather uncomfortable, I would have thought.
It was, yeah, deeply uncomfortable.
Rather
and it was
hot.
much smaller than I remembered it to be. I thought there were like loads of dorms, but there was only one. And we took a bat and a ball out one evening when like everyone else had gone home, and we just stood in the middle of the square, and we were just trying to hit sixes.
Give it a whack, yeah?
Yeah.
It's quite hard, was it?
It was really hard because we were 18, we were children. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell that story.
Well, it's a lovely story.
Thank you. I'm all frazzled and nostalgic. To further the point of England having paid attention to the previous matches, White, Hodge and Boucher, it came out like mental. They played tip and run and were just hitting balls to fielders. And for those who, I think this is easy to sometimes forget, the women's inner ring is 25 yards, not 30 yards.
Yes.
So when you see fielders perched on the edge, yes, there's still a chance you can scamper a run, but
It's 5 yards closer.
5 yards closer. These two just didn't give a shit. They were just like, we've seen that 120 wins a game. We're going to run them. We're going to run all of them. And I really enjoyed it. It was carnage. It was mental. But I got in favour of it. And also in terms of England's planning, if I'm John Lewis today, wake up tomorrow morning, Lindsay Smith, 2 for 11, I am punching the arm saying, I told you so.
Yeah.
I told you. I was talking about this for months. It's very important. Lindsay Smith has been picked not just as a spinner, but as a specialist power play bowler, because her numbers in the power play are so excellent. And so then we come along here. It was like the least surprising shock selection of all time. Head the night goes, oh yeah, Lindsay Smith's in. You go, 4 spinners? What? And then you picked 4 spinners in Southampton. So
yeah, but what do you think happens in the group game in Dubai? I mean, you imagine Lauren Bell comes back in. But
great question.
Is that Smith out and they stick with the Dean Glenn Eccleston triumvirate, which has served them so well? I don't know.
I am going to make a prediction.
Yeah.
And say that for the game against Dubai, which game of the 4 is that Dubai?
Don't put me on the spot.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, but
we should have checked that out. Does it matter?
So I think let's give a hypothetical that might be wrong immediately. Say England play another. Basically, oh God, it's not.
Let's say they play the West Indies.
Okay, but I was going to say it doesn't make sense if they go to Dubai next. Basically, my guess would be the grounds are so large and that so much of it is like putting the emphasis on not conceding runs. You might go Smith over Glenn. You might sacrifice your leggy.
Well,
and
actually,
so just have that control throughout and force the opposition to take the attack to you.
Well, it wasn't interesting because the thing about Sarah Glenn is that she is renowned for bowling stump to stump, not for being a big spinner of the ball. A little bit like how probably Georgia Wareham is the least spinny of the 3 great Aussie leggies: Amanda Jade Wellington, Alana King, and Georgia Wareham. Similarly, Sarah Glenn is not very spinny. And she kind of tends to pitch the ball middle and leg and get to straighten and forever is attacking the stumps. She didn't actually bowl very straight today. She didn't have great control of line and length. She had an off day. The person who was hitting the stumps with pretty much every ball was Lindsay Smith. 15 of the 24 balls she bowled today would have hit the stumps if somebody wasn't in the way. Yeah, that's 67.5%. That is. Don't you like stats? That's a good stat.
Occasionally, I've looked it up. England play their first 3 group stage games here at Sharjah, so you booked Lindsay Smith in for all of those.
No, if you say Sharjah, you've got to do it the Danny Morrison voice. Here in Sharjah. That's how it works.
Just going to carry on with my life, actually.
Here in Sharjah.
And then they go to Dubai then, which probably makes it even worse, more threatening for Sarah Glenn. We've just created a selection gossip.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to move. No, we're not going to move on. We're going to talk about.
Well, can we talk a little bit about Bangladesh?
Yeah, okay.
Because actually, they lost by 21 runs. That's quite a lot in Sharjah because it's sort of like 35 runs in Dubai, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay.
But at the same time, they did have moments when I think they would have thought they were in with a decent chance. Coming up to around the halfway stage, the rate was just over 7 that they needed.
Wow,
a couple of little spurts. I wasn't backing them, but one of my jobs as a commentator is to try to sort of, point out that there are 2 teams playing and not be completely one-eyed. And it did feel to me that when Sultana Jyoti and Mostari were going quite well, and they had that 10-run over off Sarah Glenn, there was just that little moment where you thought, they could get close. I never backed them to get all the way over the line, because England's bowling so relentless in these conditions, and their fielding was great. They were very athletic. Their fitness held up. But I just think Bangladesh put it in a decent performance. And what interests me about that is, having beaten Scotland, having got close-ish to England, I'd give them a sniff of beating the West Indies, I wouldn't be surprised if they ran them close.
I think I was...
Just
I looked up Bangladesh's. I went through all their cricket info profiles.
Yeah.
When the rate got to about 7.5.
Yeah.
And everyone's career strike rate was below 100, and I went,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen. But
look,
yeah.
the West Indies on a really good pitch in Dubai yesterday scored bugger all runs. So
anyway,
you never know.
We're going to go to the ad break here. What's the ad break sponsored by? Who's advertising us? Ambassador Cruise Line. Cruises, December. You want in, don't you? I've got an ad read
For
for
me?
Daniel Norcross. Yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
There you go. Just make sure you wiggle it every now and then, just so it doesn't die.
Okay. I need to do things with my glasses.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line, giving you the chance to cruise with cricket legends this December. Are you stuck for what to buy the cricket fanatic in your life for Christmas this year? Of course you are. Yes, getting them Glenn Maxwell's book is a good idea, don't get us wrong. But where might they read it? How about on the sea during the Cricket Legends festive cruise with Ambassador Cruise Line?
Wow.
Leaving on December the 12th from London for 7 unforgettable nights. They'll get to rub shoulders with some of the game's great storytellers, Henry Blofeld and Jonathan Agnew, while legends of the game, Graham Gooch and Alex Tudor, impart their knowledge and experience. What's more, you'll be entertained by theatre shows, quizzes and an array of entertainment as you sail around some of Europe's most stunning and historic port towns. All this at a starting price of just £559 per person for a week.
Before?
That's wild! And there's another 10% off with us. Hey, it's super easy. Jump on ambassadorcruiseline.com and pop in final word 10 at checkout. That's 10, the numerals, 10. Do that at the checkout. You'll be sailing away and beating the winter blues by talking non-stop cricket. Ambassador Cruise Line, giving you the chance to cruise with cricket legends this December.
That is wonderful. I'm always impressed with how you do that.
Do you think someone could give me a job? I suppose this is a job.
Yeah, well, you are getting paid to do it, yeah. I feel a bit sorry for Graham Gooch and Chuge there, because it goes, the game's great storytellers, Blofeld and Agnew.
Well, I thought
And
you were
then
going to say that you felt a bit sorry for Blofeld and Agnew because they didn't have their wisdom and experience. Because they do. I think it's very even-handed.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
Storytelling
fine.
is Henry Blofeld's raison d'etre.
That's a good point. Right.
Unlike Sultana Jyoti. There you go. There's my raison d'etre pun for you.
God,
that's my current favourite pun.
I reckon I understand 40% of what you say, and then we.
That's good for a man your age.
Oh, I know, it's good. Right, England are on the board. Great showing with the ball. Probably a bit concerned about how they fell away with the bats, but Australia are also on the board. Now, this, for a very one-sided game, had a lot of very fun moments, and they were all kind of wrapped up in the first 5 overs.
Well, the incredibly long duck.
The incredibly long duck. Darcy Brown.
With the incredibly long over.
Capitulating.
The hottest day, Australia. Let's start at the beginning, because when England go into the game with 4 spinners, and we kind of thought they were going to, Australia leave out the hardest spinning bowler in the competition, Alana King. Even though they've already got Annabelle Sutherland, Talia McGrath, Elise Perry, Megan Shute, right? Did they need Darcy Brown as well? I mean, I'm amazed they didn't pick Taylor Fleming and Kim Garth, to be honest with you. They left Alana Bench on the King. Alana King on the bench. Alana King on the bench. Which really upset me, because I love watching Alana King bowl. And Darcy Brown, her contribution to the match consisted of an 11-ball over that went for 12 runs in 40-degree heat, probably about 48 degrees in the baking sunshine in the middle. Poor thing. I mean, I know Australians used to like 8-ball overs, but I think even they balked at an 11-ball over. There was that, and then she dropped an absolute goober. Poor thing. It was not her day. And also, I'm against Darcy Brown, not for any other reason. Not for any other reason. No, it's not for any other reason than in the field I get her mixed up with Georgia Wareham all the time.
Oh, that's
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's my fault.
No, I don't
It's nothing
think it
against
is.
you, Darcy.
And also, but do you not equally hate Georgia Wareham then?
No, because I know Georgia Wareham's going to play anyway.
Oh, okay.
Whereas Darcy's a sort of, you know.
So basically, you're saying
pick Alana King. I can recognise Alana King easily, and we'll never get her mixed up with Georgia Wareham.
you're like one of those people who are just friends with the first teamers because they're better at cricket, and you don't like the people who split in and out.
Suppose I am.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
But the fun parts from my point of view, Gunaratne, a 10-ball duck, the longest ever World Cup, T20 World
That's
Cup
right.
duck.
Yeah.
Australia.
Although I've got to say, in fairness, to Diddley Pob yesterday, who got the 4 off 14. That should have been a 14-ball duck. She just got that. Yeah.
Kenna James.
Yes. she got a 4-ball 14,
Yeah.
14-ball 4, and
Yeah.
the 4 was an edge which should have been stopped. So that
Yeah.
could have been the longer duck.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But-
It was, strictly speaking, the
and
longest duck.
Watch this space. Watch this space for all the winning machine, kind of clean cut, foot to the throat Aussies. 5 no balls in the first 5
I
overs.
know.
The most no balls I've ever. Thank you to Nick Savage of Fox Sports
Orange.
Australia for
Yes.
sharing this. The most no balls that had ever been bowled in a T20I innings, and they'd done it by about the 5th over, which did make Sri Lanka's power play total of 25 for 3 off 7 overs, including the 5 no balls and the 3 hits, all the more remarkable.
True.
They then, Sri Lanka, to their credit, they showed up with the ball, showed up in the field. Drew Warren was run out.
Yeah, it's a great bit of work.
There
that.
was, chasing 93, Australia with 14 for 2 and 35 for 3.
Got a bit exciting
There was
at
a
that point.
little bit of a
sort
wobble.
Only problem is that Australia back to number 15, don't they?
They do indeed. So to illustrate that point perfectly, Georgia Wareham was flipped up to number 3 at the expense of Phoebe Litchfield going down to number 6. I didn't love that, but I also kind of just think that's me moaning about like what colour my Ferrari is. Like it's a problem of luxury. They can do what they want. Australia on the board, England on the board. They'll face each other in the semi-finals, hopefully, maybe. But anyway.
Well, I don't know about the semis, but we'll see. Yeah.
Anyway, it's time.
Oh yeah.
For the final word, Hall of Fame. This is brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line as well. I hope you remember that by now. Do you want to go first? I can go first. Do you want to go first?
Well, no, because my Hall of Fame was really it was an accumulation of how long it took for the first innings to be bowled. It was like the Hall of Fame was just the sort of hour and 45 minutes it felt like the first innings lasted, which was a combination of factors, one of which was that for some reason ball tracking just didn't bother loading today for about 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
It was kind of a bit nuts. And then there was a moment, this is all part of my Hall of Fame stuff, where there was there an edge onto the pad? Well, no, there wasn't, because you could see that the ball had missed the bat. But weirdly, there was suddenly an ultra edge murmur. And yet they stopped and thought, hang on a minute, is that ultra edge? And then they paused and considered for about 4 or 5 minutes. And then went, okay, it's not. And then ball tracking, please. By which stage, honestly, I'd had 2 or 3 birthdays in that time.
I've got an opinion on that murmur.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
going to investigate it before I bring it back.
Oh, okay. All right. Exciting. What's your Hall of Fame moment?
My Hall of Fame, this is so final word, so I'm going to mention it, but it's not my Hall of Fame. They've brought in new ball tracking technology for waist-high full ball.
Oh,
full
but last,
tosses.
wasn't that great?
Yeah.
Too right.
And actually, you
last.
were explaining it to me through my ears, because I was getting some food at the time.
Oh.
But they now, rather than being like, is that waist high for the full toss? They've now gone bloop or Hawkeye.
Yeah, because they can
And showing
predict
where
where
the
the ball's
waist is.
going to go, and they've got a lovely picture of the player involved and how tall they are.
Exactly.
So, with a little line that goes
Wonderful.
5'3".
Great.
I'm
Just
with
great
you on that.
things.
That's super. Shall we go?
No, can I wanted to do
Oh,
my
sorry.
actual Hall of Fame.
Okay.
My actual Hall of Fame
Oh.
was not wrapped up in the cricket,
Oh.
and I told you about it on our way down here. Sharjah Cricket Stadium put on one of the greatest meals of all time tonight.
Oh, yes.
They have done. I am guessing that it's because England are playing, and to make their visitors feel at home, they have put on amongst an array of beautiful food, bangers and mash. It says it on the little sign in front of the thingy-mabobby, and you open it up, and you just have this like gloop
There was a gloop.
of
It was
mashed
amazing.
potato,
Amazing you ate it. Amazing you ate
chopped
that.
up sausages, gravy, and like caramelized onions, just all mixed together, ready to go, efficient. And I went, I've got to try that. I've got to see it, and I had it, and it tasted. I loved it. It tasted like your kind of that at-home cheap gravy.
I like that.
It was comforting.
Yeah.
The sausages taste like cheap sausages. I like that. I
Yeah.
like mashed potato. There was way too much salt in all of it. It just was like, it'll dehydrate you. All I want, the thing I'm so upset about is a dry state Sharjah has given me the best drunk food I'll ever have in my life, and I just needed to like inject 5 pints into me before I had the chance to eat it.
I can't think of anything more comforting on a 40-degree day. Right, shall we
Wonderful.
go?
Yes, we can go. Stop rushing us.
Well, I've got a car and it's hovering.
Okay, this has been the final word. It's been brought to you by Ambassador Cruise Line. Daniel Society's got better things to do. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, and we cannot wait. See you then.
Bye.